everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Tyson Alger here, joined by Justin Myers. Justin, fall camp is officially over.
Yeah,
at this point
we're done. We're now we're almost on to week one.
Let's take a brief moment to remember some of our favorite moments that we saw behind the scenes of fall camp this year. All right, so moving on from that, Dan Lanning had his final end of camp media session yesterday. It was kind of a lot of what the Ducks came into camp with. We know what we have roster wise. It's on the players now to kind of take it on them, and whether it's leadership roles or stepping up or just performing once Boise State finds the Autzen turf on Saturday, we're kind of at the point now where football's here, baby.
Yeah, it is. And I think we talked about this before, kind of looking at this as kind of our season preview podcast. But I want to throw this out, though. I want to have a conversation on season previews, because I did these shows for 20 years, right? I did these season preview shows. And the thing that I always kind of loved about college football is, right, the schedule and the opponent is as much of a factor as the roster.
Right.
And you could go back for years and years and years when it was just a 14 playoff, and before that when it was a BCS, and you could look at the schedule and just kind of go like, I mean, they've got a national championship schedule right there. And I hear like a lot of, because I'm a sicko, I've been listening to a lot of season preview podcasts, a lot of stuff on my YouTube feed popping up. The algorithm is hot right now with college football. But my question to you is like, is schedule as big of a deal as maybe it used to be? And here's why I bring it up. I remember when I went to do radio in Seattle, and I stopped covering college football and started covering primarily the NFL. And every year in the NFL in the spring, the schedule will come out, right? And every NFL fan freaks out and thinks the NFL is out to get their team. Right. And I look how tough this schedule is. And I remember one time having this thought of like, how do you know how tough the schedule is? Every team you are playing is at least 50% new.
Right.
If not 60% new. Free agency, draft, cuts, everything. Like, you have no idea. A playoff team from one year can be a 5-win team the next year. Like, you don't know how tough the schedule is. And I'm wondering, like, are we there with college football? Maybe not all the way NFL there, but are we there? Like, who would have thought that we'd ever be in a position where you look at the schedule and you go like, missed Indiana. Don't have Indiana on the schedule, where usually that was like a sweet. You got Indiana. You could circle that one for a win. And because there's going to be some teams on Oregon's schedule. Oklahoma State has a new coach. UCLA has a new coach, right? There's some teams that are going to be on the schedule where, not saying they're going to pull the Indiana off, but they're not going to look anything like we thought, and the whole looking at the schedule in August is going to look very different.
I think because in college football, and the thing that I've kind of really noticed about it is there's still, and we've talked about this a fair amount, the old guard hanging on to the teams that used to be, you know, like for instance, like there's still a fair amount of interest in Nebraska and those types of programs. Mm-hmm. And so I think college football, there was a larger maybe trust in kind of big names, and like you'd give them a longer berth, if you will. But I think now it's kind of got to, like, maybe you narrow those windows down to like 3 or 4 year cycles. So like, I think right now as it is, Indiana was very good 2 years ago. They won the national championship last year. Kirk Cignetti is still very, confident coming into the season. I think you can use some context clues a little bit, at least, to maybe go like, okay, like it's probably good that they're not playing Indiana this year, but I don't know how much faith you can put into that. Because like, as you said, and this is a year where the Ducks are less transfer portal heavy than others, and there's still just like a lot of new on this team.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking like also from like an opponent standpoint, the two that I mentioned, I'm not sitting here as an Oregon fan freaking out about the Oklahoma State and the UCLA game, but those are two very intriguing games. I think it's good to have Oklahoma State week 2 because they kind of did what Indiana did, right? They went out and got a coach at a lower division. He brought a ton of dudes from a very successful, even though it wasn't a Power 5 team, but he brings a ton of dudes in the transfer portal that know his system. They're probably like 24 and 25 years of age. They've got a pension on their NIL deal. They probably have, family health care because, but like, that's what Indiana was, right? Indiana, like that first year, 2 years ago, was half JMU's roster.
Yeah.
Right? You just brought James Madison over, which oddly enough worked. Now, maybe that's the biggest anomaly in college football history, which very well could be. There will be 30 for 30s and very poorly made Netflix documentaries about the Indiana football turnaround. But I wonder, like, is that an anomaly or is that a blueprint of teams that stunk last year? And like you talked about, the good teams and the good brands of college football, they get more of a longer leash, but the opposite used to be true as well. If you stunk, you were going to stink for like 5-6 years. Like the turnaround took forever. Now we know, no, the turnaround can be a year.
Well, and if you're looking at kind of the historical history between like a Oklahoma State and Indiana, it's far more outlandish that Indiana became what they like. It's realistic that they could potentially copy that plan. My question to you is, if you're Mike Gundy, do you want them to score more on them this year, or like, where are you waiting in Stillwater to like ambush Dan Lanning like in the bushes because of the 80 so points that the Ducks put up on you last year, or are you bringing the playbook over to be like, hey, like they fired me, but it could be a lot worse?
I mean, if I ever got fired by a football team, which I've only been lucky enough to be fired by radio stations, I do not want any success whatsoever. But this is weird because like Gundy's an alum though.
Right.
So he's an alum, but he's also been fired. And so like where do you stand in your allegiance? I probably would be bitter and pouty and would want no success whatsoever.
Here's another question I have to you as we're getting ready for this football season, where a lot of us are already focused on what happens in January, and that's kind of the larger topic. But that Oklahoma State game last year was one of those just random moments that pops up where you're playing what you thought was kind of a Power 4 or 5, and then I don't remember what the final score. I don't know. I think the Ducks just scored another touchdown, but it was. I love a football season for that, where you just have these. You think everything that's going to happen, and then the Ducks score Portland State numbers on a Big 12 opponent. And my question to you is like, how memorable was that kind of game for you, or like what other moments do you have from last season of just like, oh, that was like, other than the wins and losses that we're still writing about, like what stuck with you from last season as we're kind of like going into this year, where you're just like, oh man, they don't play anybody fun till like USC, and then it's November.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting because you mentioned that Oklahoma State game. Like the one thing in that game that I don't remember the final score, but I do very much remember Dante Moore with a towel over his head heading into halftime thinking, oh my God, did Oregon's quarterback just tear his ACL in this, what is becoming more and more meaningless football game.
Right.
So that was the one that kind of popped up from last year. Last year was a weird schedule year. Also, like, it was weird. Like, it oddly seemed like Oregon at home always played in the heat. It didn't get cold until the one game where maybe they didn't want it to rain, which was like the Grateful Dead game. And then it just poured down rain on everybody's tie-dye party. But it just felt like everything was just hot. Like, it felt like Oregon was in the SEC last year. But
it's always a cool, like 71 degrees. And actually, that's a lie. It's not a climate controlled press box up there. They got those windows open.
They got the windows open. You had to hydrate.
I don't mind when it's hot. Those cold games though, my fingers get cold. The words per minute really drop.
But I'm fascinated to see what happens. Obviously, week 1 with Boise. That's for like true Oregon fans. The Boise game brings a lot of luggage, brings a lot of baggage.
Right.
For what should be a week 1 comfortable victory, Boise gets to add a little strength of schedule, maybe a little bit of a paycheck. Oregon is a far different team this year than maybe it was 2 years ago. Boise's a far different team than it was 2 years ago when they had maybe one of the best players in the country in Genty. But I still believe that uniforms are magic in college football, and that while the players change, which is very contradictory to what I just said earlier about all the turnover in college football, but as we established last week, I'm a hypocrite, and I'll fully admit it. But like,
sports fan,
exactly. Yeah. Boise 2 years ago, like, nearly derailed what turned out to be a perfect regular season, and Oregon needed to fight tooth and nail to get a game-winning field goal at the end of regulation to win that game at home. You have were you around for you were around for the Vegas Bowl. So there's the Vegas Bowl game that Oregon fans want to forget about, but I will never forget about Royce Freeman, who I always liked, but Royce Freeman, who opted out to not be injured, but he's on the sidelines telling the guys who are playing in the game to, like, get it together. Meanwhile, you are perfectly healthy, and if you were playing, it might not be in this situation. That's the lasting memory I'll have from that. But yeah, Boise there. Of course, LeGarrette Blount and Byron Howard, which was a carryover from, a lot of people don't remember, that's a spinoff. Like, you know, a lot of people forget, like, certain shows were like spinoffs.
Frasier to Cheers.
Frasier was a spinoff of Cheers. Family Matters was a spinoff to Perfect Strangers, Cousin Larry. So it's a deep cut. But like the Byron Howard, LeGarrette Blount fight was a spinoff from the year before when Boise knocked out Oregon's quarterback and then stole a win at Autzen. And then, of course, because of that, LeGarrette Blount said, yeah, we got an ass kicked waiting for them. It did not happen. And but except for after the game. And so, yeah, so there's an interesting Boise, Oregon history there that for whatever reason, it always ends up being kind of something odd, always, whether it's an injury, whether it's a post-game fight, whether it's Oregon coaching with kind of a coaching staff, as there is a battle going on between Florida State and Oregon over who's going to keep assistant coaches. And then, of course, 2 years ago, having a game come down to the final few seconds when it should not have. Maybe some jazz for the season, but I feel like Boise has more drama than maybe some people are giving it credit for.
Do you care any more about Boise now that they can and have made the playoffs? And I ask you this because when Boise really jumped onto the scene, it was late 2000s. It was a Statue of Liberty play against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl to win. And it's, here's this team in the Mountain West. Like, small school, they're going to go 12-0 every year. It's them in Hawaii sometimes. And there was kind of like this kind of, those two programs had like a 3 or 4 year run where there was just kind of like this mystique and aura around them. And Boise largely kept that. They haven't been quite as successful through the mid 2010s, but then obviously the Genty thing happened and they were pretty good then. But there was kind of the mystique around them. And then there was always the argument of like, they shouldn't make the national title game because.
Yeah. Look at who they play.
Are they more interesting now that they can make the national title game, but now they're just they're still in a smaller conference. Sorry, Pac-12. They're still in a smaller conference, but, you know, they're not that different anymore, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Or are you just like, the turf's still blue, man?
Turf's still blue. It's still a well-run, like, mid-major type of football program. I didn't even think about it until you just said it. But, like, Oregon's back playing in the Pac-12 again.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to say it on the field. It's going to have, I think there's a sponsor on the field now. But it's not going to say it on the field. And it's going to be weird that Boise's going to be coming in with, like, the Pac-12 patch or the sticker or whatever they got in. But, yeah, Oregon playing a Pac-12 opponent again. Here we go. Where's Larry Scott? What's he doing?
He's probably in Vegas.
Still at the Aria?
Yeah.
Up in the suite?
Yeah, he hasn't figured out how to get out. There's so many doors that.
The butler is like, dude, you got to go.
Okay, so we talked a little of the early schedule. Obviously, things ramp up. First Big Ten conference game is that USC game on the road. You have that November onslaught where it's Ohio State, Michigan State, and then some team from up north.
Yeah.
But what else is kind of percolating around Justin Myers here as we're a week around game day? Do you care much about the quarterback right now, or do you just think we have what we have with Dante Moore? Or are you concerned about the offensive line? Like where's your confidence level?
I am oddly concerned that I have no concerns.
Yeah, that's where I thought you'd be.
Yeah, I have.
That's not a good place to be.
It's
Justin.
really not a good place to be. But also, like, back to one of our favorite reoccurring topics, like, is Oregon a blue blood? Is this what it's like? Is this what it's like to be like an Alabama fan or to be like a Texas fan? To just every year you go in going like, we're fine.
Yeah,
we're good. We got everybody. Yeah. How would we ever lose a game? Is this what Ohio State fans do in August? Because like as an Oregon fan, you're just like, I know Oregon's going to be good. I know they're going to have a chance. What's the game where it's all going to fall apart?
Right.
Where is it? And you can never and again. Would have never in a million years guessed it would be Indiana last year. But when is it going to happen? When's it all going to fall apart? Whereas do the blue bloods of college football just go in thinking like, we're fine?
Well, so my question is, or what I wonder is, if Oregon wins it this year, you guys have this whole identity of Oregon fans, as you just described, of you're just waiting for Lucy to pull the football.
Yeah.
If you win one, do you suddenly shake all that, or come 2027, are you looking at schedules going, because I would argue now that once you win one, Ohio State fans then it's championship or bust then, and so you're always I don't know.
Are you almost looked at by those teams like a lottery winner? It's like, oh, that's cute and all. Like you won $87 million.
New money.
And new money.
You probably don't even know what to do with it.
Exactly. This money's gonna be gone. You're gonna get scammed out of this in no time. But in my heart, Tyson, as an Oregon fan, I truly believe that when Oregon eventually wins this national championship, that everything's good. It'll be like the Wizard of Oz when it goes from black and white to color. Everything will be fine. It's all going to be great. There will be no. We're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We'll never have to worry ever again about is it all going to fall apart? When is it? Because who cares? You got the one. That's all that matters. But we talked about
it's like what Tom Cruise is shooting for in this Digger movie he's got coming out. He's been shut out of the Oscars throughout his whole career, but he's just got to get the one.
Just got to get the one.
Just got to get the one.
And that's it. That forever introduce you as Oscar winning actor.
That's why I need to somehow get one of those regional Emmys.
Those awards always eluded me.
Yeah.
I never could get the.
My uncle won one once, and he carries it around in to family reunions.
He's got the Emmy just sitting there.
Yeah.
Puts it right where your seat is at the table. It's like, hey, Tyson. Oh, sorry. I thought my Emmy was sitting here.
Yeah. You know what's cool when you do that? The reflection looks pretty cool in my APSE.
That's a good one. I still have my parking space, by the way. So we talked about this last year. And this kind of coincides to season expectations. But last year, the question was, would you rather be Indiana, which is 30 years of shit, to have one title? Now, they may win it again in the next 5, 6, 7 years, but they had to endure 30 years of 4-win seasons were good. Mm-hmm. If you were in the game with Ohio State at halftime and you had a reason to come back after you went out, that was good.
They had to pretend that basketball matters.
Exactly. They changed their tune real fast if they won football. But then they won the title. Or where you're Oregon, you have no title, but in doing research for another thing we're going to do later on in the pod, there's very few years where even into October, as an Oregon fan, you were thinking we still got a shot. There's still a chance. That's most years of the last 25 in Oregon football that even into October, you could be like, yeah, there's still a shot.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of people talk about like Phil Knight. Like Phil Knight's goal is to get Oregon its title. That's all Phil Knight seems to be caring about. Get Oregon football its title. But I was thinking about this here, like, but hasn't like what Phil Knight and Tinker Hatfield and Rob Mullins and before him, Bill Moose, like then Bellotti and all those guys, what they started building in the early 2000s, like haven't they already accomplished it? Which is every single year you're in the conversation.
Yeah.
That's where Oregon football is. We're going to talk season expectations every year, Tyson, in August from here on out, unless something catastrophic happens. God would. We're going to talk, can Oregon get over the hump and win the national title? Every single year. That's the goal. They have everything else in the trophy case that you could possibly win. All it is now is to win the national title. But there's no reason in this NIL era where you're in the Big Ten, where you have a coach that is seemingly happy, content, and is not going to be chasing other jobs. Like, you are in it every single year. Wasn't that the dream? Or is it now? It's about trophies.
No, I mean, like I did a radio hit earlier today, and I kind of brought up a similar thing because you can't say that the Phil Knight, Nike, Oregon revitalization has been a failure by any stretch of the means. I mean, the Ducks were in Tokyo a month or two ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, like it's like their brand is everywhere, and it's a brand that when it first started was the flash and everything, but I think vastly now the Oregon brand is associated with that. That's going to be a pretty good football team. Like it's just kind of what it is. Like it's like bringing a low level English soccer team up 8 levels, and now they're in the Premier League and they're routinely contending. But it's a massive success there. I do think that probably at some point Phil Knight has sat and thought and gone, all right, I want to win a title. Like that's a goal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that it's the blessing and the curse of college football. Or of all sports is like when you win it, it is incredibly special because guess what? Only one person wins it every year. But does that make 127 other failures or programs or the Ducks have been relevant for the entire time that I've lived in Oregon. They haven't just been relevant. They've been, as you said, contending for national or within that national conversation outside of 2 years, I think, 2016 and 2017. I mean, by 2018, if Herbert doesn't break his collarbone, like they're probably still a pretty good team that year. 2015 too, Vernon Adams. There's been 3 seasons in the last 13 years where the Ducks haven't been in that. That's a massive success, but we also live in the internet era too, where it's just until you just get that one that sets people up. I think we all believe it's coming. I think we all are also realistic that success can be a little fickle. I mean, like when Vince Young ran that ball in and Texas won that national championship game in, what was that, 2006?
2006 Rose Bowl, but the 2005 season.
Yeah. We had probably thought Texas was going to win a bunch of them in the coming years. Texas is just finally getting back to kind of that level that they were. Oregon's been great all of those times, but it's just, I think that's where some of the angst is because it is this good right now, and that should be celebrated, but also you got to put something on the wall.
I know. Yeah. So, other things to look forward to this season, like I mentioned, week 1, Boise, all the history there with Boise, the whole Pac-12 thing is going to be fascinating, and just opening day at Autzen, Labor Day weekend, 12:30 kickoff. Oh, so happy about that. Hey, we did it. We got it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
Don't worry about what happens the next 2 weeks. There's a 9 a.m. local kickoff on the road, and then
it'll be noon for me,
and then a Friday night game. But never mind. We got 12:30 opening day. USC,
Portland State 7:30, man. Like
on a Friday.
Come on
a Friday.
That's when I-5 shut down. I
know.
We're going to do a full corridor talk coming up.
Yeah. We might be on the I-5 corridor, having to do a podcast from there. We might not be back yet. At USC is fascinating, and here's why. I think USC is going to be better, and I don't. USC has never been like the crazy fan base of like, hey, we brought you in to like win big games, and Lincoln Riley's won like what 8 games a year, but like I think they're getting a little antsy there. So like USC has San Jose, Fresno, what is that? Louisiana Lafayette. They go to Rutgers, which could be a sneaky trap game. Like USC likely 4-0 when Oregon comes to town.
What do you think their ranking is then too? Because there's like that's one of those teams where people want to be like the first to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think they could be top 10.
Yeah, that's what I was.
They could be top 10.
It'd be good for the networks.
So,
just keep going.
Okay. So the USC game, that one's the first one on the schedule that just kind of intrigues me. I mentioned UCLA. UCLA is going to be, I think, one of those weird teams that because they got transfers, because they have a new coach, but that's going to be at Autzen. Maybe it's my Gen X sports heart, Tyson.
Yeah.
The Nebraska Cornhuskers at Autzen Stadium is just going to be awesome. Like, and Nebraska is going to be in a spot where they might be firing their coach if it goes bad in that game, because like Matt Rule is of all like the coaches in the Big Ten right now, I think Matt Rule and Lincoln Riley probably the warmest seat in the conference.
Yeah,
everybody else like is either new or comfortable. So like you've got Matt Rule, Nebraska, middle of October. If they're like kind of just hanging on and like Oregon puts it on them, like that might be a tough plane ride home.
True.
But also I'm going to be fascinated by how much, like, is it going to be like the Ohio State game? Not a couple of years ago, but not from a competitive standpoint. And maybe it is, who knows? But like, I get the sense like half the state of Nebraska is coming out there. Like the Cornhusker faithful are going to be descended upon the Willamette Valley. And I'm very intrigued what Austin's going to be like for that game.
I don't remember much because they came in 17, I believe, during Taggart's first year, and I think the Ducks beat them. But that was a weird.
And Mike Riley was coming back. Yeah,
that was just a weird era though, because that was the Swag Surf Ducks. You know?
That was.
I think it was. So yeah,
it's funny you mentioned like that for some reason just didn't even pop into my head that you're right. Nebraska's been here. I was at the game. I did the post game show.
It was like I yada over a few of those years. I don't remember much from like that. I think that was a 6-week period when Braxton Burmeister was quarterback.
I think that was a smoky game too.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you are absolutely. Yeah, you were doing Smoke Watch. Mm-hmm. It was you were posting photos on Twitter of how smoky it was, then getting accused of your doctoring these photos and this was in the good days.
Yeah, we're at a practice over on the coast.
Ooh.
I guess I used to high school, I think, or something like that, and then come back over. But like mid-October conference game at Autzen, that game could get interesting. And then, of course, you've got back-to-back at Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
And I'm... In August, Tyson, I'm talking myself into you don't got to win all the games. You just got to get into the playoff, which is factually true. But I know myself that by the time it comes around, like if they lay an egg somewhere or if just they go up against Ohio State and take a tough loss, like I'm still going to be very upset and very angry. But you could with Oregon's schedule, 10-2 gets you in the playoff.
Okay, right? So let's talk about what Justin's fan happiness meter would be. You beat Ohio State, but lose to Washington.
No.
Okay.
Don't want that. That's not unhappy.
Unhappy. I'm assuming I know this. You lose to Ohio State, you beat Washington.
Yeah, happy.
Okay. You beat Ohio State, you lose the next week to Michigan at home.
I'm unhappy.
Okay.
I'm unhappy. Football head says at Ohio State is going to, they're not going to be favored in that game. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows what both teams are going to look like by that point in the season, right? We're sitting here in the summer. We've done this how many years, Tyson, where you've wrote season previews. I've talked college football in the summer, and then all of a sudden we get to October and you go like, well, this is nothing like we thought it was going to be. So
hold on 1 second, folks. I'm going to close the window. Justin, continue. And we're back.
But I mean, knowing that it's always a fool's errand to look ahead, we still choose to do it. I think maybe just because it's fun. But as we sit here right now, I think Oregon, Ohio State, both probably between them and Indiana, probably picks to win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to on the road at the Horseshoe. They're still probably pissed about that game at Autzen 2 years ago, even though you got the Rose Bowl win of the national
Horseshoe,
and yeah.
When Kayvon Thibodeau didn't even play. And
they're still mad at C.J. Verdell.
God, that was a fun game.
Just running to the left the whole game. It's like they didn't even know that was even possible. It's like Ohio State defense quarter is like, they ain't going to run left, are they? Nah. So, and that's kind of like I talked about with Oregon and Boise. There's an interesting baggage back and forth with Oregon and Ohio State these last couple of years. So that one, I kind of throw it up there, even though as the game happens, I'm going to be a complete maniac while I'm watching it. But the home losses affect me probably the worst. Michigan, Nebraska, Washington, Boise, those that you got to win the home games.
Yeah. Okay. One last one for you.
Yeah.
You beat Ohio State. You lose to USC. Or so you lose to USC, and then you beat Ohio State.
Probably okay with that.
My prediction is and I think Oregon's better than USC. They should be USC. Who knows what's going to happen? But if USC does win that game, it is going to be a very loud and annoying 2 weeks of internet. Because the Ducks have a bye week after that.
Yes,
SC fans have been the Ducks have kind of turned into the thing that they're chasing.
Yeah. So, a couple other things on the schedule. The thing that I love about college sports, but also is the reason why I love it is because it's maddening. There's a game where just the college kids just turn into college kids, and for whatever reason they just can't. As my old coach of mine would say, they can't hit their ass with both hands.
Yeah.
Right? For whatever reason, it just shows up out of nowhere. At Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
At Illinois.
It's a good coach team. That's a long road trip. Weather could be
a factor. It's just you don't play your absolute best. That is the game where I'm like, well, I don't like this.
What was the Pac-12 equivalent of that game?
Stanford.
Yeah.
Every year. Stanford.
You think Illinois is at that?
I think they're built I think that's how Brett Bielema wants them to play. I think he wants, which is funny because that used to be the entire Big Ten. And now it's just you got Oregon and USC.
Where everybody goes.
Yeah. But I think that's that Stanford game where it's they're going to try to put you in a phone book and grind the clock down. And so that one, I know that Chip Kelly came back as UCLA's head coach once before. But Chip Kelly's going to be back as the offensive coordinator at Northwestern.
It looks good in that purple, man.
It looks so weird. It just, boy, what happened there? How did he get there?
Is Chip Celtics era Shaq?
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, but the thing is Shaq was really good he still had another prime with the Heat at least, and then where'd he go after the Heat? I think he went to Phoenix. And that's when it kind of became a caricature of the guy. And then
Celtics and then Cleveland.
I mean, I guess you could give Chip a little bit of the second rebirth when he came back to Ohio State and won the title as the OC, right? And so you kind of still got this groove back a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely this is Cavs Shack.
I mean, it's an interesting run that Chip Kelly's been on these last couple of years. It makes, and again, I didn't know him. I interviewed him. I don't think anybody in Eugene, other than maybe a close circle of friends, actually knew him. But like, it's just such an odd.
What's it like the aura to get taken from somebody?
Yeah,
because that guy, as acclaimed and esteemed as Dan Lanning is here in Oregon right now, I would still argue that probably 15, 16 years ago, the Chip Kelly mania and worship was probably still at a different level.
Yes.
The only comparative thing that I had was maybe my first year you cover Marcus and he wins the Heisman and he's the best football player I've ever seen, and then he's just a very okay to good at times NFL quarterback.
Yeah, still playing there.
But Chip was like this could be the next guy for decades,
Yeah, and to like, okay,
like would you be nervous if you were to get a chance to interview Chip Kelly right now?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have the same nerves that you had back 15 years ago when like this is the most powerful guy and you're
absolutely not? And maybe it's a testament to him of like maybe he was just like, yeah, he's crazy, just locked in, focused, and then like, wait, all right, so I got fired a couple of times. UCLA's not going to invest in us. I got like $50 million. I just want to call plays. I just like calling plays.
Isn't it insane to think that Chip Kelly passed up on essentially coaching Dante Moore?
Yeah.
Like he saw that first year and was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. But it's a very odd career turn from a guy who is arguably one of the masterminds that changed college football. Like I would say if you were to name in the last 25 years, who is like hands-on changed the sport, number one is Nick Saban. The way he went about recruiting and won all the titles at Alabama. As much of a, I'm using up all my curse words, but as much of a dick as he was, Urban Meyer is one of those guys that you could say. And then there is like the combo, like Chip Kelly, Rich Rodriguez, of like guys that are just like, yeah, we're spreading out, going no huddle, and we're going fast. And now they call it tempo, but there was one team doing that 20 years ago. Well, 18 years ago. Like there was one team doing that. That was Chip Kelly at Oregon going like, yeah, no huddle, spread, great. Also fast. Faster than the defense can set. They changed and now everybody does it. Like, to me, it's like on par with Darrell Royal gets credit for kind of inventing the wishbone offense. But it was really, I think, one of his assistants was at Oklahoma. I watched a whole ESPN thing on the wishbone, which football nerd in me loved. But that's what Chip Kelly did. And now he's the offensive coordinator at Northwestern after being the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders and didn't make it to the end of the season and left being a head coach to be a coordinator for Ohio State. Won a national title, sure. But it's a fascinating career arc.
All he could do to counteract your Oregon fan opinion is go scoreboard. Won a title.
I know.
I mean, how many you got, Jeff?
I have my ring. You got it, and you got it against Oregon. But yeah, Chip Kelly calling plays for Northwestern back at Autzen.
It is fascinating because there is a long kind of lineage, at least prior to the Lanning era, of basically everyone who left Oregon was terrible, and assistants too. I mean, yeah. Anyways,
I mean, yeah, I think I did that segment on my old radio show at least a dozen times of I mean, other than Bellotti, who retired, everybody else that left has stunk. And then Cristobal ultimately got it figured out. they're going to be very good. But 2 years ago, like that Georgia Tech loss, like it wasn't looking all that great for Cristobal either.
This is how I know you're an expert in this field, is because you're able to immediately inject like the qualifier of like, well, if we were doing the same, let's up until 2005, Cristobal, you know.
Yes, but I know. I realized that, yes, Mario Cristobal was in the national title game last year as a head coach.
Yeah, but so was Indiana. Anything can happen.
I know, yeah. Exactly right. So that's kind of like, of all the things on the schedule, like those are the ones that just, of the season, those are the things that pop up.
Are your seats in the same spot as they always are?
They are very good.
Can you give us a little tour, like a visual tour, where are we seeing the game from?
I'm seeing the game almost exactly as you would see it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I know where you sit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just go a little bit to the left and down.
Okay. Are you a food in the stadium guy? Are you a pregame guy? Or...
Food at halftime, definitely.
Okay.
Because if you know my pregame routines,
yeah,
you boys got to get some food at halftime. It's going to end badly. Yes. I've been going hot dog. Like last year, I went hot dog a lot. Glizzy is the. Now, I've never heard the term glizzy until like 8 years ago. It popped into the lexicon.
Mm-hmm.
And where are you in your relationship to the term glizzy and of a hot dog? Because I've always just had a hot dog.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever actually. Like, have you gone up and said, "I'll take a glizzy"?
No.
Okay,
but I would be.
Yeah, no. Like I've been aware of the phrase for. But
if I'm golfing with the boys, I might say glizzy at the turn.
Glizzy, okay, yeah.
But I would never order a go up to like have a glizzy.
Yeah, I want to say that.
Probably get a very weird look.
I gotta think that's like probably like last 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely an internet thing,
and it's one of those things too where I'm like, this is an appropriate name for die. Like it's the glizzy. Sure, I can get behind that. All right, you want to talk about inches?
I really do.
Speaking of glizzies,
let's just let that one marinate for a little bit.
Yeah.
God, we can't get away from the bro talk.
I know.
We're gonna get more comments. All right. So last week I gave you my theory as to why coaches are crazy, because in their mind, like, they live in a world of seconds and inches, where 1 inch could mean the difference in extending a drive, which could lead to 3 points, which could lead to a win, which could lead to maybe a playoff. Or if you don't, it could cost you a bowl game. These are the decisions, the inches and the seconds that coaches live by. And so you wonder why, say, a coach would maybe not allow any media members to watch their practice ever.
Right.
Because maybe just one of those media members
are the inch that matters.
Might sneak out a play, might sneak in like meta glasses, and maybe record something, and that one thing becomes an advantage.
Next thing you know, broken collarbone.
Exactly. So you said...
I gave you a little homework, didn't I?
You did. And you said, what are some of the most significant inches in Oregon football history? And
do you think we could get this segment sponsored?
I would love to.
Greatest inches in Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, I have one in mind, but I'm not going to say it. It's a lot of that Blue Chew stuff. I mean, not for me, but...
Oh, for the sponsors.
Yeah.
I thought you had... Never mind.
So, as I was running through these, they were like...
Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. A lot of them were negative.
Yeah.
But I've also got, like, one positive in there, and then I've got, like, a fun one that's for you. So, I'm going to start honorable mention. You mentioned 2018. 2018, Oregon, Stanford, Autzen Stadium. The snap is 1 inch lower and does not hit Justin Herbert's face mask, and instead hits him in the hands. They beat Stanford. Now, does anything significant happen that season? No, but Tyson Alger doesn't have to sit through the Red Box Bowl then.
Oh, man.
I mean, that one, think about that one.
I think I would have been able to go to like El Paso or something.
Could have been, maybe, I mean, might have been a better game, maybe not a better locale, but like if you think about like that one snap is 1 inch lower. Herbert grabs it. They score a touchdown.
I'm so excited for the Red. I wouldn't have even remote.
And
I don't even remember this game.
And you don't even have to go to the Red Box Bowl. All right, 2001 is where we're going back to. 2001, Oregon Stanford. The lone loss in the regular season for Oregon. The lone loss in the entire season in 2001. A lot of people remember that game, 2 blocked punts, but really it was Oregon had the ball with the lead, needed a first down. It was one of those, do you run it and have to punt it away, or do you go for it? And Oregon runs play action. Joey Harrington gets sacked. Ball pops up in the air. Stanford recovers and scores, takes the lead. 2-point conversion. If that ball isn't fumbled, they punt it away. Now, they still may lose that game, but that's just one of those things. That's the difference between playing a national title and playing Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl. So that's one. We talked about this one last week. Washington 2022. 1 inch of turf is the difference between Bo Nix sprained ankle and Bo Nix not sprained ankle. If he doesn't sprain his ankle, I think they win that game. And they may not convert that, because remember, they went to convert the 4th down. He's on the sidelines. Other potential inch in that game is that inch of turf that caused a slip, because the play on 4th down was wide open. Mm-hmm. But it's just 1 inch of a cut, and running back falls down. Yeah. You don't convert. If they do that, now, do they beat Oregon State 2 weeks later? I don't know, like, how the butterfly effect works, but they're still, I think, in the Pac-12 championship that game with that win.
Does Nix come back the next year then? Or wait. Yeah, because that was his first year.
Yeah. This is a good question.
Yeah.
I think he does still.
Okay.
But
he's in the Heisman conversation up until that game.
He was, and also if you win, because if you win that game, right, and then let's say he doesn't sprain his ankle,
you beat Oregon State.
You might be. You're in the Pac-12 championship game at least. You win that, you're in the playoff, even with the 1,000-point loss to Georgia in week 1. Like, that's the difference between making the playoff and the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe potentially 1 inch.
That's a big inch. That's a big inch.
It really is. This one, I don't think a lot of people think about this one. 2019, Javon Holland. You know where I'm going with this one?
Uh-huh.
Oregon is playing Auburn in Dallas Stadium. It's my 40th birthday. My wife bought me tickets for my 40th birthday. I'm in the stands. Oregon is playing very well. I sitting next to my wife and sitting next to my brother, and I said, come on, Javon, just take this one back so we can watch the rest of this game and have a good time. And Javon Holland fields the punt, goes right, comes left, and kicks the pylon, but the football is an inch behind the goal line. The very next play, the ball is snapped over Justin Herbert's head. I believe it's a scoop to score for Auburn. That changed the complexion of that game. Bo Nix would then convert a 4th and 11.
If that inch doesn't happen, does Bo Nix end up at Oregon?
I see.
Yeah. This is why we can't.
But in 2019, if Javon Holland scores, if he just puts the ball out instead of kicking the pylon,
it's a playoff team.
They're in the playoff even with the loss to Arizona State. That's the difference between that 1 inch is the difference between making the playoff in 2019 or facing 3rd place Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl, which was still fun. But, and then, a lot of people want to probably throw out Dyer being down.
Who? What?
Yeah. I've said my piece on this one multiple times. Like, even if he was down, it was a first down. It created new 1st and 10. Auburn was still rolling. It's still Cam Newton on that team. They only needed a field goal. But who knows? So I'll throw that one in just because
it's not fresh in the mind or anything.
No, not that I remember that from 16 years ago.
Yeah.
But again, the play that I think I've always said the most impactful play in Oregon football history is Kenny Wheaton's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
It in one simple play, in my heart of hearts, changed the fortunes of two different college football programs. That's the most impactful play. Second most impactful play is Oregon, Stanford, 2012, fourth down, Zach Ertz. He was out of bounds, but if he is maybe an inch more out of bounds, maybe the replay will then show that his shoulder was out of bounds on fourth down. Oregon then takes over. They run out the clock. They win that game. They go undefeated. They play in the national title game. Now, some people might say, Justin, Alabama won that national title. How does that change the fortunes of Oregon football? And I would say, you don't know ball, because if Oregon went undefeated, Alabama doesn't even play for the national title because they would have faced undefeated Notre Dame and Manti Te'o and his fake girlfriend. I think Oregon wins that game, and I think Oregon may have a national title. 1 inch of Otson turf standing between them and that crystal football. This is why coaches are crazy and fans are crazy. These are the things.
I'm so proud of you. That was so well done.
Thank you very much.
Guilty. Or I don't know if like what side of the case you're trying to win, but that was a hell of a final.
Now, you know what I didn't include? All of like the bounces that went Oregon's way. It's my favorite thing. It really is my favorite thing of fandom, right? I've done this too. We all do it with our favorite team. Is like, oh, boy, that ball goes left instead of right. Make that field goal. They win that game. But like, yeah, but what about all the ones that just barely snuck in? Like, well, that was supposed to happen. Like, not to bring up Mighty Ducks again, but if you'd have missed the inch to the right, you'd have hit nothing. Well, thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
So that is my my TED talk on it. Often, I'm sure there's more, but some of the most significant.
I thought
inches.
I thought one like honorable mention could be, and this wasn't so much significant to Oregon as a program, but it's significant to probably thousands of youth football players out there. But the inch before the end zone that Kalen Clay dropped the ball.
I did want to bring that one up. Yeah.
Then Joe Walker then scooped. That is now used on teach tape, probably on both sides of that. One, the don't do this, and then two, the play's never dead until the whistle blows.
Isn't it crazy that happens every year?
It does.
Every year.
I'm sure it happened to, it's happened to Noah Whittington almost twice,
mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah, like every year somebody just drops the ball early, even though every coach has used, whether it's, was it Deshaun Jackson, I think, did it. I know Chad Johnson, now Chad Ochocinco, he did it in the Fiesta Bowl of 2000. Didn't get called for it. Whatever, Oregon State got the touchdown. I don't know if it mattered, but that one I thought about. Yeah, the 1 inch Oregon, Utah. What if he scores? Like, the final score turned out to be, if I remember right,
the game was close at that point, though. Like that was
they were about to go up, I think, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was a significant moment.
And it was a 14-point swing. And then Oregon would ultimately, now maybe Oregon still wins that game, but what do they know?
Yeah.
And then they lose that Thursday night game to Arizona. Then it doesn't, that you don't make the playoff. Marcus might not have a Heisman Trophy. Yeah.
We might not have a podcast.
You never know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Where any of us would be at that point. All based on 19 to 22-year-old decisions. Yeah. But you ever wonder why coaches are crazy? Why they do seemingly silly things in their decision-making process? I believe these are the reasons why, because there potentially is, I just named off 4 right there, 4 potential Oregon playoff seasons where 1 inch cost them.
Mix that in with a lot of them are former football players. They've been hit in the head a few times, and yeah, it's a nice. You got a stew going there.
I thought about also 2021 pass interference with Stanford, overtime game, but then those 2 losses to Utah were they were on the way anyway.
One of those time traveler movies where they tell you still can't change the outcome.
No, I know you might have a Stanford win, but they're still going to lose twice to Utah in 3 separate weeks, and then Mario's going to get on a plane and look like he's making a hostage video and promoting the Alamo Bowl.
The best part is he was in the airport. Anyways,
he was there. He's boarding the plane, not to San Antonio.
You got anything grinding your gears, Justin?
I do have some things grinding my gears. Let's dive into some things that happened to me this week. All right. Guy was just trying to be nice, but I have to question. I was at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how when you leave Costco, they check the receipt to make sure that you spent $200? Because if you don't, they send you back in. You need to buy more stuff.
Wait, is that...
So...
I don't frequent often, okay? You could have gotten...
I almost had you.
Yeah.
But I was on my way out getting, Costco, basically, for me, we buy coffee, wine, toilet paper, paper towels, and Traeger pellets. That's
same wine every time.
Yeah.
Same pellets every time.
Same pellets every time.
You don't go we're gonna go cherry this month.
No, it's a gourmet blend.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's the only ones that they sell there.
For all purpose.
It really is. But apparently I went on Monday. Apparently on Sunday, the coffee I bought was on sale. Then it wasn't on sale anymore. As I was checking out, the guy who checked my receipt was like, "Ooh, your coffee was on sale yesterday. Missed it by a day."
I don't want to know that.
And I'm like, "Well," and again, the $5 that I would have saved, not going to be.
You wouldn't have noticed, but now you've noticed.
But what makes you say that? And how many times does he say that to everybody else?
And also, why does he know that? Do you know how many products they have at Costco? They have several.
Several.
And he knows that the sale ended yesterday?
And felt the need to tell me that I missed out on it.
If Costco is a reputable business, if you buy a new Apple product and the price goes down the next day, don't they have a little bit of a window where you're like...
I mean, you would think, but and at that point I had already purchased them. He's checking my receipt. It's not like I can go back and be like, "Oh, excuse me, can we price match?" No, he's just "Hey, just so you know, could have bought those for cheaper yesterday." Well, thank you. Unless you are Dr. Emmett Brown with a DeLorean outside, it doesn't help me at all.
Yeah, but you don't.
Can you just say, "Have a nice day"?
Now you have a podcast topic, so
fair enough.
Maybe go back and thank him.
Maybe I should have.
Give him $5.
Do we really need Mexican food plates to be that hot? Do we need it? To where they feel the need to when they set it down, go, "Now be careful, it's a very hot plate." Do we really need the plate to be that hot? Because my plates at home are not. I get them out of the cupboard and they're room temperature plates, and they seem to do just fine. Again, I'm not a restaurateur. I've also never worked in the service industry, so maybe if you want to light me up in the comments because it's necessary, that's fine. I'll take it. But do we really need plates so hot that you have to be warned? Or can we just use regular plates?
Yeah, because I feel like, especially as you, a man of culture, I assume when you go to a Mexican restaurant, and if you want the hot plate, you're probably ordering fajitas.
Yeah,
because it's the implication.
Yeah, I'm not talking fajitas.
Exactly. But it's just there's if you want your. If you want that,
a piping hot skillet with sizzling fajitas, yes, thank you. But
because it does seem like most other restaurants, you don't deal with the hot plate.
No. But I don't know what benefit it's for anybody, other than to tempt you into touching to see how hot it is, because that's what I have to do every single time. Be careful, the plate's very hot. How hot are they talking?
I mean, I do like it interactive.
So I was just what are we doing with the? Why do we have to have plates just so hot?
Yeah.
Like, maybe if it's keeping the food that I am about to eat warm while maybe we wait for other food so that everything can be served as one, and I'm not getting a cold burrito, great. But like, I'm good with just normal plates, just normal temperature plates. So just stick with those.
Yeah.
Where are you at with people at the office cutting donuts in the break room? Pro or anti?
I'm very pro.
You're pro cutting the donuts.
You know why I'm pro? Because I'm still a whole donut guy. I mean, like, come on. You can watch this on YouTube. I'm going to still eat my whole donut, but sometimes you get a little like, I can't be the guy who eats the second donut. Yeah, but if there's a half, like nobody's accounting for the half pieces. So when somebody cuts it, that's a dead donut. Nobody's going like, oh, you ate a donut and a half. Like that's free for me.
When I was a kid growing up, me and my friends played this game, and maybe you guys played this game as well, where like if you went to McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's or wherever, if a fry, because we would also eat in the restaurant because it was a different time back then. Now people are just like, the idea of eating inside a McDonald's seems like,
is something wrong?
Yeah, like, are you doing okay? Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go eat by myself in my car like a normal person. That seems weird to me. Anyways, not talking about that. But when we would sit at like McDonald's and like have lunch, if a fry fell out of the fry carton and landed on the that was free. It was available. Like that was the game to play, is if you spilled your fry, those are now free. They're much like tag. Home base in the carton, those are yours. They're accounted for. If they fall out,
those are international waters.
Exactly right. Those ones are free. So what you were saying is that once a donut cut in half, and they take it, then that's now free.
It's lost its identity. There's nobody looking for it.
Like a sacrifice fly, it does not go against your donut count.
Because in my view, somebody had a whole donut, and now they're just offering half of it back.
They took possession of the donut. The remainder that's bonus donut.
They had a couple of items in the kitchen they're not using anymore. They didn't want to drive all the way to Goodwill, and they put them out on the curb. And guess what? They're gone the next day. It's how the world works.
I like it.
Yeah.
I was curious because I could also see the other side of like, let's just eat a donut. Just eat the one. Like, how precious are you that you're like, oh, let's just have half.
Yeah.
Just have half of this stuff. Like,
see, my job is to ensure that nobody else has to experience the half situation. I'm a fixer.
And then lastly, can we stop saying spill the tea?
Yeah.
Can we just, as a society, I'm done with that phrase. I don't know why I put that on my notes, but I must have been like hot in like the Instagram algorithm. But like, spill the tea. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Can we just move? Let's find another thing to say.
Yeah. Move on.
You guys, I've got all the tea, and I'm about to spill. Just get to it.
Yeah. Just tell me. Tweet it.
That's what I got.
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good. So,
yeah.
I know you did want to talk a little bit about my Dan Lanning.
I really did.
Trip. I think
whatever you can say, because I don't want to take away from the future.
Well, no. I think because we're at about time. I'll just say, I think I sent you a text when I made it.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4:45 in the morning, and I really felt like I became Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the only tease, just because story's coming out next week at Lookout, and then we'll kind of do maybe a full recap of that, as well as more Boise talk, because guess what, Justin?
It's week one.
It's week one. Oh, it's football season's here.
I did, on the message that you did send me. I don't know if that's going to make the cut, but like, it was a delirious karaoke of you singing a song.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be video.
I was singing Country Roads.
Yes,
and if you were an attentive watcher, you could hear that my GPS at the very end said "Welcome to Pennsylvania."
Yep. It was really good.
Yeah, I mean, like a storyteller could probably work wonders with that.
Nailed it.
All right, we'll be back next week for week 1 preview here on the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Give us a like on... Is it a like? It's a sub. We need subs. We want a subscribe.
We'll take either.
We'll take a like, subscribe, maybe leave us a review. It would help us out.
Positive comments.
Only positive. If you have
Keep your negative comments.
If you have nothing good to say, well, you probably aren't watching this podcast. So we'll talk to you next week.